By getting
put
arrested?
behind bars, killed, whatever the fuck it took. He wanted Joe out of the picture. He wanted to take over all of it, even though when he first got it, he didn't know what to do with it. That's why he called me.
And on the Tiger King, you always saw someone following Jeff around with a cell phone.
Yep.
Videoing all the time.
That's that red-headed cunt he calls a wife.
That's his wife that's doing all the filming.
Yep.
Why are they doing that?
For blackmail.
Okay, so they're just constantly searching for blackmail? Is
That's
that
right.
like a pattern?
Just like on the Tiger King Netflix thing you've seen where Jeff walked in yelling and screaming at Joe, that Jeff told me that was a setup. They specifically went in there, and it was more or less in simple terms to try to show Jeff was the good guy, that he was going to confront this criminal. That's why when you see it, had Joe done some of it? Well, hell yeah, he had. But was Jeff Lowe aware of it? Goddamn right he was. Because if Joe embezzled $1,000, you can bet your ass Jeff Lowe got 750 of it.
So, do you know that, or is that just your guess? That it's like
Jeff told me that. So,
Okay.
I mean, Joe was still sending a bunch of money, and Joe, I've got the zip files where Joe can prove it. He was sending money to Jeff in Vegas. They were, Jeff, more or less in simple terms, Joe worked for Jeff.
So it might be, is this a plausible scenario based on what he told you? Okay, go ahead, Joe, and write a check out of the zoo account for this much for your campaign, and you send me this much of it.
Yep. Jeff had Joe cashing checks like that. That's why he didn't want it to come down to where the bank tellers would tell the fucking truth or whatever the fuck happened out there. That's why wouldn't you go back to tell the bank or sue the bank? You owe me every amount of fucking money. You were letting him cash checks, and no, he no longer had that authority. So why wouldn't Jeff have attacked the fucking bank to get his money back?
So in theory, this was a scam cooked up to be able to get him arrested for it and out of the picture.
Yeah.
To get Joe arrested for
Exactly. Just to have more shit that he could talk shit about Joe on. So he could convince, I flew out there to do depositions in my PETA lawsuit with Joe and Jeff. And I had Joe one day, I had Jeff the next day. And Joe was on the run at that time, but he showed up to do his deposition for me. And he was there, did his deposition. He wasn't really on the run. He had done left the zoo. And so he wasn't a part of that, but Joe's a good friend of mine. He showed up to do the deposition. The next day, Jeff had his deposition. That was also the same day that Jeff went to talk to the feds to get his Rule 11, his immunity. Hi, big boy. Bomb. Bomb. Heat a bomb. And why is his name Heat a Bomb? Simply because he's the bomb. Hey, big boy, shoot up. Hey, shoot up. Get up there. Good boy. You're a good boy. I know you my big boy. You big motherfucker, ain't you? Hey, where's my kiss? Where's my kiss? Thank you.
Can I video that? A shot of that.
Well, watch how smart she is, though. Hey, Boom Baby, give me a kiss. Where's my kiss? Hey, give me a kiss. Give me one more. Give me one. Easy. Hey, easy. Good girl. No one. You my baby girl? You my baby girl? Hey, say, honk.
That's just
Animal abuse at its best.
Right.
You know what?
Joe Exotic is claiming that he paid Alan, who was Jeff Lowe's right-hand man that he brought into the operation. Mm-hmm. Joe's claiming that he paid him $3,000 to basically, as severance, to just leave town and leave the zoo and get out of his hair because they were not getting along.
Yep.
The government, because of the information provided by Jeff Lowe and specifically Jeff Lowe
And James Garretson.
Mm-hmm. They're claiming that he was convicted, that $3,000 was given to Alan for the sole purpose of going to Tampa, Florida, and murdering Carol Baskin.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe Joe?
I believe Joe. Now, did Joe want Carol Baskins dead? Well, fuck yes, he did. There ain't a single person in the animal industry that don't want the bitch dead. You know, but Joe would have done it a long time ago. And just like Doc Annell said on the thing, $3,000 really? $30,000 ain't even gonna get it done. 100 maybe, but $3,000. Even a dumbass like Alan Glover. What a lot of people don't understand is while I was out in Oklahoma, Alan Glover lived with me for about a month and a half, 2 months, something like that. And Alan's a super nice guy. He's just a hardcore drunk, you know. And so when he gets drunk, he gets stupid, just like a normal drunk. He drinks cheap-ass hardcore liquor, whiskey and shit. But Alan, if you watch the Netflix series, number one, at one time, he states that he took the $3,000 and he drove all the way over there, and when he got into Florida, apparently, I chickened out. That's the words he used.
Apparently.
Then, apparently, I chickened out. And later on, he states, well, I never even went to Florida. When I got over here, apparently, I chickened out. He used that word twice. You wouldn't use the word apparently if you weren't being told what to fucking say.
I heard in one of the recordings on there, Alan said to someone, hell no, I didn't go to Tampa. Why would I go to Tampa? I wouldn't go to Tampa on vacation.
That's right.
Yet in court, he testified that he went to Tampa.
That's right. So, I mean, he's so... Like I said, Alan is a super nice guy. You know...
Do you feel like he got used?
Oh, yeah. He got used, misled, and now, when it came down to it, Alan didn't know how to handle it. He thought he was just going. It wasn't going to be no cut rap, no nothing, blah, 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 blah. They were just going to take Joe down and all that kind of shit. Then when it went ballistic, as you heard on the phone call between Jeff and Alan on that bullshit, well, number one, why would you be holding your phone up? Recording this conversation between you and Alan Glover if you were Jeff Lowe. It was scripted. You could tell if you listened to it again, it was more or less like Joe or Jeff is asking Alan questions, sort of like what an attorney would do. And now, don't let me put words in your mouth. Did you go to Tampa? Did you take money from Joe? Did you, just boom, 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 just like you were sitting in a fucking courtroom or something. They were rehearsed, 110%. When Alan lived with me, and one night he got drunk, and he made the remark to me, it was because it made Alan mad. Alan did not like anybody telling him what to do or how he had to do it. Alan didn't like that shit. And he told me he was mad as hell because the next day he had to go to rehearsal with the feds.
For his testimony?
For his testimony against Joe Exotic. He had to go to rehearsal. That's the word Alan used when he told me. Now they're trying to say all this bullshit. The feds were in on, they didn't give a fuck. As long as they got to take Joe down, for whatever reason they had against Joe before that, who the fuck knows? I don't understand really whatever got, quote unquote, the feds involved in Joe. Because that's one thing the Tiger King series never fucking mentioned. Why were the feds there? What was Joe doing that was wrong before they come into this so-called murder for hire bullshit?
Do you think Gerritsen went specifically to the feds because he was in trouble and just said, I know something you don't know?
Yep. And Gerritsen made a bunch of shit up because he's nothing but a fat criminal piece of shit. I met him one time, and he's as useless as a fishnet condom. I mean, he pretty much serves no fucking purpose whatsoever. And he thinks he's hot shit. He thinks he's Mr. North. He's nothing but a fucking crook.
Did you like the way he rides a jet ski?
Yeah, you gotta love that. I never seen a fucking beached whale fucking ride a jet ski before until the Tiger King Netflix come out. And he's just a worthless piece of shit. And that's why nobody liked me, because I didn't tolerate their shit. I didn't play along with their game. I didn't go along with it. Me and James Gerritsen, like I said, I met him one time. It was actually the time I went out there to do the depositions with Jeff and Joe. And that was before I ever moved to fucking Oklahoma. When I got out there, I was bored. I was staying the night, and I thought, hell, I'd been in contact with James Gerritsen. I didn't really know who he was. I'm going to meet him face to face. Hell, I could read through that within the first 30 seconds after meeting him. I thought, hell, you're nothing but a fucking con artist shit. So I caught through that real quick. So I never had anything else. I would talk to him on the phone and shit, and I could tell when I was talking to him on the phone that he was trying to get anything he could get on me. And, I could tell that automatically. So, again, I just sort of stayed away from that worthless fat bastard. Oh, quit. Hey, I want a kiss. Thank you. You're my baby girl. Can I have one more? Hey, where's one more? Thank you. You're my baby girl. Let me punch you in the nose. Pow. Huh?
Did Jeff ever say anything to you that would indicate that he kind of fabricated this payoff story on the $3,000?
To be honest, I don't remember Jeff ever really talking about the money. That I remember him telling me, Joe paid Alan $3,000. The other thing, if you listen to it on that Netflix thing, Alan flat ass hated Joe Exotic from the very second they met. And Alan would not do anything. He specifically even sat there and stated, I didn't work for that motherfucker. I wasn't doing nothing for him. I worked for Jeff. Then Jeff speaks up on the thing and says, yes, Alan Glover worked for me, not for Joe. Then how in the fuck did Joe just out of the blues say, hey, Alan, come here. I'm going to hand you $3,000 and you're going to go kill Carol Baskin. Really? They done sit there and said that he didn't work for Joe. He only took orders from Jeff, blah, 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 blah. So who gave the order? Really? Do you really have to sit down and figure that one out? Joe wanted her dead. And if they were willing to do that, hell, Joe was all for it. I can promise you that.
So chronologically speaking, Joe was indicted and arrested prior to you being in Oklahoma for the new zoo and living with Alan?
Right.
So all your interaction with Alan came after this whole thing
after
happened.
it all went down, after everything, because Alan was in South Carolina. You see that phone call.
Do you think if push comes to shove, Alan's ride or die on behalf of Jeff, or do you think push comes to shove if he has information that's contrary to what Jeff has testified to?
Oh, I can promise you.
Back on it?
I can promise you. Alan Glover has the truth about all of it. He knows everything, but Alan is indebted to Jeff for numerous reasons, so now he's in conspiracy with Jeff. So Alan, I feel sorry for him because he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. That's one reason I think why Alan wanted to just go back to South Carolina and didn't. That's why he's getting severance pay, is he wanted to get away from it all before he did get buried any deeper or any of that kind of shit. The one person that hasn't been put in the spotlight is Lauren,
Jeff's wife.
Jeff's wife. She's just as much, if not worse, than he is.
Why is that?
She is the mastermind behind a lot of the shit. I've seen that for myself. She rules. Jeff's a pussy whoop little dick motherfucker.
In the documentary, he came off as more the...
He's badass.
Yeah.
He's the Mr. Macho. Bullshit. Lauren wears the pants in that relationship. Anybody that knows him will vouch for that. Jeff may stand up and literally throw his little temper tantrums, and all that kind of shit. But at the end of the day, Lauren gets what she wants. And she's the one that thinks up a lot of this shit. They're both fucking, I guarantee you, Lauren was involved in the murder for hire setup too. She's just as guilty as Jeff is, And because, how can you sit there and watch that documentary? How can Joe be in prison and Alan not be? He was the hitman. He's the one that literally took money to do the job. If it even goes the way they said it went. So how does he get immunity? For what? Rehearsing what to say against Joe in court?
How did Lauren and Jeff always seem to have money? How were they able to fool people about being wealthy?
They pretty much told me different, stories about different shit. Jeff supposedly was a millionaire. That motherfucker ain't never amounted to shit. He's always tried to portray himself as Mr. Moneyman. Now, right after the fucking Netflix thing come out, he bashed me and Joe, said he was proud to take down the bad animal people like Joe Exotic and Tim Stark. And he's had to endure all kinds of shit. He even had to sell his Ferrari to take care of the animals and shit. And it's like, really? You had to sell it? No, I beg to differ, you sorry piece of shit motherfucker. You never had it. It was repoed a long motherfucking time ago. So he's so full of shit. Me and Jeff were friends up until about 3 days after I left Oklahoma. Then he turned on me. I can show text. I left August 18th. I can show you a text on August 19th. I hope you made it home safe. I hope your health gets better. That's the main thing. You're a good guy. Blah, 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 blah. On August 19th, the day after. 2 days after that, I think it was August 21st, is when he started fucking going ballistic. Why? Because the lady he conned into buying the property down there in Thackerville, I went over. He messaged me when I told him I was leaving. He messaged me and said, I don't know what we're going to do. I think we're just going to stay up here and run this zoo in Wynnewood, and we'll just let Cheryl fucking deal with that property down there. She can sell it or whatever the fuck she needs to do. After she lived in Oklahoma City and was selling her place there to move down there. And I thought, that ain't fair to her. That ain't right. So I went over. I didn't much care for Cheryl, but I thought, she needs to be told. She's in the middle of this mess, and she's going to get fucked. So I went over and had a heart-to-heart with her and told her, I said, you may be getting fucked. And she's like, she worships the ground Jeff walks on. And I'm like, well, I'm just here to warn you. And then she said something. They had just had a baby shower at the new property for Lauren, for the baby. And one of the hookers were there walking around. One of the hookers from Vegas was walking around in a miniskirt with nothing on, with their pussy, ass, and everything else hanging out. And I asked Cheryl, I said, you are aware that she was just one of them paid fucking hookers, right? What do you mean? And I'm like, you are aware that Jeff and Lauren both are obsessed with hookers and shit, that if Jeff has his way, this property won't only have a zoo on it, it'll also have a strip club. That's his goal. That's what he wants. No. I said, well, who do you think that was here walking around with her hootie hoo sticking out, during the fucking baby shower? I said, yeah, I was back in Indiana at the time, but Roy and fucking Mallory told me all about it. And she's like, well, I kind of wondered. I said, that's one of their fucking hooker bitches, And thank you. Love you too. But I mean,
who's the nanny?
There is no nanny.
Was that just someone they brought in just for that scene?
Flew her in from Vegas. She's a fucking professional model. Now they're showing it out, and they even admitted, yeah, she was just there for a story. No, Jeff fucking got caught in lies. Again, is what it amounts to. So he is so fucking fake and so full of shit. I've never met a man in my life that, number one, is that full of shit, and number two, somehow gets away with it.
Yeah, and he has sometimes money because he wrote a $35,000 check.
Him and Lauren both told me that at one time there was some foreign lady, Asian lady or something, that came there out of the blues and wanted to volunteer and all this kind of shit and blah, 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 blah. But she acted a little higher sophisticated and shit. Like she didn't look or act like the type that wanted to go out there and play in tiger shit all fucking day. So they kind of questioned her. One night they drugged her, knocked her ass down, knocked her out. And they went through all of her shit. And that's when they found out that she was a madam, female pimp, whatever the fuck they're called. And that just made their day. They confronted her and told her, cut us in or we turn you in. And so we guess, we have no proof, but evidently there's still something there. She's doing women from all over the world, especially Asian women. She sells them, all kinds of shit. And so it's like, Jeff and Lauren both sat there and told me the whole fucking story. Joe brought it up on the thing that, that they did it and everything. Goddamn right.
So
and
you think maybe he gets money from her?
He has to be. Either that or he's got Donald Trump fucking a goat on fucking video or something. He's getting his ass covered by somebody and he's getting money handed to him by somebody. I know, baby girl. Hold on, we'll classy, but yeah.